I'm just trying to memorize these combos before tonight's video. We've done this bit before. No, we've done this format before! It was supposed to change!
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-minute testing. Have we reached the end of time? The endless reboots and remakes of childhood IPs, the never-ending sequels for franchises that just won't die, the eternal metagame of Salamangreat and Orchest? Has the inexorable march of history stopped? Are we frozen in a repeating cycle of the last 18 months like the end of an Atari game, unable to innovate past the current totality of human experiences? Anyway, here's Salamangreat. So here's the list, and with the exception of the now absent Mirage Stalio, it sure does seem like very little has changed. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by YGOProDeck. YGOProDeck is a one-stop shop for deck building, deck uploading, card searching, and strategy articles, some of which are written by yours truly. I'm proud to represent them, and I encourage any player interested in deck building to check out their website at www.YGOProDeck.com. Anyway, back to the future. Salamangreat is one of the 4 previous pillars of the format, rivaled by Thunder Dragon, Orchest, Striker, and not much else. While Striker and Thunder suffered heavy losses from the January ban list, Salamangreat seemed to get off easy. Their Omni Searcher with extra steps, Mirage Stalio, was sent to a nice flaming farm upstate, but their power has never been concentrated in their Xyz monster. While the horse, of course, did come attached to a non-destruction removal spell, its target of choice was often Thunder Dragon Colossus, which something tells me we'll be seeing much less of in this upcoming format. All the other pieces of their bread and butter combos are still legal, so it looks like nothing short of the Bowman Instrumentality project will bring down the Flame Ignis anytime soon. Of course, the changes do mean we'll have to modify the deck. Since now nearly every part of the combo is required to end on something competent, we usually can't manage the minimum number of salad needed to pop off without first finding Gazelle. Thankfully, Konami, in their infinite wisdom and desire to see Marincess and Mathmech become meta, have unlimited Lady Debug. This sneaky Cyberse searcher ensures we'll be able to build boards teeming with traps. Secondly, Mirage Stalio's hooves are hard to fill, but Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Lion Emperor does a pretty good job. He's a fire monster, and therefore satisfies Sunlight Wolf's requirement, adds a Salamangreat back to the hand, which is usually just a Gazelle recycle, and prevents Spinny from being banished by virtue of his advantageous supertype. In short, while it's less explosive than its previous format iteration, Salamangreat definitely still has legs. Or talons, depending on which half of the deck you draw. So with that, let's get into the card by card. Firstly, our non-salads. 3 Lady Debug, 3 Flame Buffalo, and 1 Crusadia Reclusia. For the zoo, we're on 3 Foxy, 3 Spinny, 2 Fowl, 1 Falco, 1 Gazelle, and 1 Jaguar, rounding out our monster lineup with 3 Ash Blossom. For spells, we're on 3 Mining, 3 Will, extra summons are critical to our first turn boards, 3 Called, and 1-ofs of Circle, Sanctuary, Foolish, and Avarice, mostly for the memes. For traps, we're on 2 Rage and 1 Roar, followed by 3 Infinite Impermanents. In the extra, we're on the Xyz suite of Free Wind Dweller, Liono, and Dante, followed by Borreload, Double Heat Leo, Transcode, Update Jammer, Phoenix, Triple Sunlight Wolf, and Triple Balinx. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Inzektor. Under certain conditions, this is an extremely explosive combo deck with the ability to build nigh unbeatable boards. The trick to winning this matchup is not to let them do that. We're going first, so I think there's a pretty good chance we'll prevent their plays. We'll lead with a copy of Salamangreat Foxy and find off the top nothing, always when I'm playing. We'll go into a copy of Balinx to get a copy of Sanctuary. We'll set it and a Will, bringing back this copy of Foxy to link summon Sunlight Wolf twice. After that, we will set 2 and pass. Not a particularly powerful pop-off, but our hand is soaking with Salamangreat spells and traps. Our opponent's going to go Dragonfly into Mothman before special summoning Destrudo, and I was supposed to rage there. Okay, well, no harm in doing it now, especially because we have a Called by the Grave on our side of the field. We'll banish this Yazi and effectively end their turn. They'll activate Chupacabra's effect, but they don't draw into action. They'll set 1 and pass, and from here we should be able to win. Well, let's go ahead and normal summon this copy of Foxy. This time, for sure, we're likely to find a... Come on! Alright, well, we still should be able to win. We'll get this Falco on our side of the field. We'll trigger Sunlight Wolf twice before going into Heat Leo and tucking back this Spell and Trap. We'll activate Spinny's effect, go into a second Heat Leo, decrease the attack of the Chupacabra, then bring back the Spinny to go into a Lion Emperor. We'll use Lion Emperor's effect and third times the charm on this Foxy, I am sure. We're going to attack for all but 500, set one card, and pass it back to our opponent. For turn, they don't draw action. That means we can BM. We'll lead with a copy of Salamangreat Rage on their turn, but my turn is what I'm excited for. They'll set one and pass. For turn, we draw a copy of Rage. Exciting. We'll activate Falco's effect to even the odds before activating Foxy's effect, and yes! A Salamangreat! Now we're safe to link summon a copy of Nightmare Phoenix, discard the Salamangreat, and get in for lethal. Well, that's enough ravishing rogue. Let's get on to taking down the tiered decks. For Game 2, our opponent is on Hero, and oh my god, a Super Polymerization. Don't worry, dear viewer. Not expecting Salamangreat to return so quickly after the Mirage Stalio mangling, our opponent has neglected to include a Violet Chimera in the extra. How sad. Well, I hope that Starving Venom is a warm consolation. Our hand is incredible. We'll lead with a copy of Flame Buffalo, then Salamangreat Circle for a copy of Gazelle. Afterwards, we'll go into Balinks and trigger the effect of Flame Buffalo. God, I love how this works when I'm on the giving end. We'll then activate the effect of Gazelle in hand and use its effect to send a roar to the graveyard. We're bringing back Spinny, and it's Lion Emperor time. We're putting that Gazelle that we detach back in hand before going into Sunlight Wolf and Reincarnation summoning it again. We'll reset this copy of Roar and then go for the Sunlight Wolf effect. The Infinite Impermanence comes down, but we still have a negate. We'll pass it back to our opponent with 2 ashes in hand. They're going to activate the effect of Ferris. We will roar it, and that's the end of the game. So it's time for Game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing Dinosaur, and unfortunately is about to exploit one of the huge major flaws in this iteration of the deck. There are a lot of monsters we're trying to normal summon. Shouts out to my opponent, Giant Skyhawk, a frequent top 20 DB finisher. I hope to showcase his version of this deck on a future episode of this show. It is gnarly. They're going to lead with a copy of Pot of Extravagance, drawing a couple of cards off the top of the deck before activating Overraptor. We have the Ash, but they have the Miscellaneousaurus. Funny that this card is also called by the grave sometimes. They'll activate Miscellaneousaurus to get a copy of Petit Pteranodon, getting a Giant Rex in the process, overlaying for a copy of Dolka, setting 2 cards, and at end step triggering for Pankratops. One of those is legal. We'll normal summon a copy of Flame Buffalo and immediately eat a Manhunt. That's the end of our turn. At end step, they'll pop our set card. Well, we would have traded it for the Pankratops anyway. They're going to normal summon a copy of Petit Pteranodon to go into Pensatag. They'll activate Miscellaneousaurus' effect, then for 4, get a copy of Overraptor from deck, triggering its effect and the effect of Giant Rex. Of course, Giant Rex can't attack directly, so they'll have to do something with it. They're going to special summon a copy of UCT, then go into Logia, attacking directly for 16, 24, and 35. Though we're not dead, we're basically dead. We're going to draw for turn, and it's got to be something fantastic. Ash Blossom is not it. We're going to normal summon a copy of Lady Debug, it gets negated, and we concede. So it's time for Game 2, and though our hand looks impressive, this game has the possibility of becoming one of the things I hate the most on this earth, a duel decided by Lost World. We're going first, so we're going to do everything in our power to prevent that from happening. We'll lead with a copy of Flame Buffalo, link summoning a copy of Balinks, chainlink 1 Flame Buffalo, chainlink 2 Balinks. Boy, that feels good to say. We're then going to activate the effect of Cyanide Mining to get a copy of Gazelle in hand. We'll Reincarnation summon a Balinks to get the Gazelle out of our hand, sending a copy of Rage to Graveyard, bringing back Spinny, Xyz summoning a copy of Lion Emperor, bringing back this copy of Gazelle, and Link summoning a Sunlight Wolf. We'll activate Will to bring back this Balinks at Link Point to activate the effect of Wolf, then the second effect of Wolf, setting 2 and passing it back to our opponent. For turn, our opponent draws a Morella. They'll activate Lost World and normal summon a copy of Overraptor. We will flip a copy of Rage, and please do not have Miscellaneousaurus just once! Oh, thank goodness they didn't have it yet. They'll get a Miscellaneousaurus, activate it, then activate its graveyard effect to go into a copy of Baby Sarasaurus, setting 3 and going to end step. At end step, we'll activate Roar on the Baby Sarasaurus effect, where it is no longer protected by Miscellaneousaurus. From here, we should be able to win. We'll activate Sunlight Wolf's effect, that triggers a Morella from our opponent, but with no monsters on their side of the field, I'm feeling pretty good. We're going to activate the effect of Foxy. We do find a Salamangreat. Fantastic! And from here we should be able to OTK. We'll Heat Leo a couple of times to shuffle these 2 back, and then we'll activate the hand effect of Gazelle in the process in a chain link that involves our opponent's compulsory evacuation device. We still should have the fodder necessary. We're going to reset this copy of Roar and trigger the effect of Gazelle and the effect of Foul, special summoning it to our side of the field. We'll go into Sunlight Wolf, then activate Will to bring back Heat Leo. We'll Jack Jaguar at Link Point. Afterwards we'll bring back a Spinny, then we'll go into an Update Jammer, a Transcode Talker, then use the effect of Update Jammer, use the effect of Transcode Talker, get in for 2300, 2300, and 2800, not once, but twice. So it's time for that all-important Game 3, and yep, they bricked. Wow, 2 copies of Ash Blossom. Well, if Mirage Stalio being banned couldn't stop Salamangreat, what is a hand trap going to do? We're going to lead with a copy of Salamangreat Circle. We'll add a copy of Gazelle to our hand. Afterwards, we'll normal summon a Flame Buffalo and Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. God, just unfair. We'll draw a couple of cards and special summon Gazelle from our hand. They'll Ash it, but we already have negation in the opener, so I feel pretty good about it. We'll go into a copy of Lion Emperor. We'll activate its effect to bring back Flame Buffalo, because we're going to get the Gazelle back with the effect of Sunlight Wolf. We are not even committing to Sanctuary here. I don't want to give my opponent any outs. We'll set 3 and pass. For turn, our opponent does draw Lost World. They'll Fossil Dig into a copy of Overraptor. We will Roar the Lost World. Afterwards, they'll normal summon this copy of Overraptor. We have a copy of Infinite Impermanence, and that's about all she wrote. They'll set 2 cards and pass it back to us, and I can feel something coursing through my veins. It's the power of BM! I can't stop myself. We'll activate Flame Buffalo's effect. It eats the remaining Ash in hand. We'll shuffle back this double or nothing. You're welcome, by the way. Before triggering the effect of Gazelle twice, we'll use Jack Jaguar in order to special summon itself to a link point before reincarnation summoning a copy of Heatleo to bring back Roar, and using its effect to reduce our opponent's monster's attack to 500. Afterwards, we'll use the second effect of Will to bring back 3 monsters, going into Dante, inadvertently turning off transcode and stopping an OTK in the process, and update Jammer. They will finally activate the Survival's End in their graveyard. We'll go into a Falco, we'll go into another Sunlight Wolf, the Grave Effect of Foxy, the Grave Effect of Falco, and get in for 23, 25, 1,000, 18, and... oh wait, that's 400 off lethal. Well, I still feel pretty good about our chances, and it looks like our opponent does too. So we're back with the deck, and we're never getting out of this metagame, are we? Let's take a look at the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, it feels great. Infuriatingly so. Sometimes you just open hands that are just as good as the deck used to be. You know, the ones where you search so much you run out of graveyard targets. Honestly, this was not the hit required to kill the deck. 2, with the possible exception of Orcust, this deck can outgrind anything. The ability to recur half your graveyard every turn is unmatched, and Avarice is a sweet reset once you've maxed out on your ability to try your opponent's patience. And 3, the deck is still enough of a toolbox to dispatch with almost anything. Heatleo deals with floodgates and trap cards, Rage ravishes anything without destruction immunity, and Roar cleans house with anything else. Notably, you can still also pivot into Abyss Dweller. And the cons. 1, it's less consistent than it used to be. Unlike the beautiful days when you could Mirage Stalio for Gazelle after sleeping through your opponent's turn, you've now actually got to expend resources on setup. 2, this build specifically is extremely normal summon heavy. I'd consider cutting Flame Buffalo in order to play another Foul, just so you're actually able to play your entire hand every game. And 3, I didn't think it would matter, but the inability to spin with Mirage Stalio has some grave implications. There are monsters, shocking as it may be, that can't be destroyed by Heatleo or Rage. Because of this, it might be better to substitute Compulse for Infinite Impermanence in future builds. All in all, it's weaker than last time, but with fewer counters, it's likely this deck remains a Tier 1 threat until the next list. So that's that. Thanks to my patrons, Tyler Slacks, Sir Tachyon, Miko Reikman, Crispy, Distrin, Picnic Blasted, Lucas Geardis, Adam Trevino, Second, Fighting Fang Wong, Pro Yugi Dab, Meatmoto27, Burritoman93, Adrian Bra, Adam Sundquist, Isaac Jackson, Donnie Fillerup, Kobe Fisher, and others. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing. And if you want to be part of the process, consider following me on Twitch as well. See you next time.